Good evening and welcome to Going for Two. This is the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day, as long as they touch the football world and not in that way. I am Zach Law. This is Superb Special Snowflake Sharona. We're recording on February 22nd, 2017. I got the date right this week. So this week's, before we totally get in, we have to do our Sharona back talk line that is out of context, but this time it's slightly in context, and the line for this week is the line from back talk that you won't hear on this show: the good people can't let the bad people win.
Oh, so yeah.
Hi, Sharona, and what beverage do you have tonight? I believe you're going to be out of the beer I brought you in a while. Apparently that's why you want to meet up again, is so I can bring you more beer.
So, certainly, yes, it is part of the reason. I am drinking a barista chocolate quad. It's a Belgian ale that my buddy Zach got me to replace the one that he swiped.
Back when the Titans losing to the Vikings seemed like a tough loss. Actually, it was. Yeah, I have a New Holland Cabin Fever, kind of a. I think it's the last of the winter beers. We're kind of past the winter, aren't we? And I've saved. There's a special beer, Prairie Pirate Noir, which is a stout aged in Jamaica rum barrels, and I'm going to. Our guest tonight has taught me many things, including to let your stout warm up a little bit. And I see Iggy's on the show.
Everybody say hi to Iggy.
Iggy plays guitar.
Iggy had to make an appearance. Okay.
So we welcome back multi-platinum award-winning artist and man you hate seeing drafting in front of you in an NFL 10, Mike Margossian. He covers NFL 10 goodness for 444 and is the back-to-back Pizza League champ. I'm sure he can tell us all about that. He's also the man who set up our 2 live NFL 10 drafts the past 2 years, and we expect a third is forthcoming. He's the man who knows where Tom Brady's jersey is. Hey, Mike, what's up?
Hey, Zach. Hi, Sharon. How you guys doing?
Hey, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me back. Yeah, it's good to be here. I have a cat circling my feet, so they knew stuff was going on.
Good to be among cat people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a glass from the Sweetwater. Although you probably can't see because it's all black now, the Sweetwater 20th anniversary brewery thing I went to, but we're not going to talk about that now. We're going to talk about, so Mike, around the third quarter of the Super Bowl, were you drinking more or less than usual?
At that point, at halftime, I pretty much stopped drinking. I was just kind of zoned out. I was at home and just completely just dumbfounded. Just absolutely dumbfounded. And even halfway through the third quarter, I just wasn't drinking, wasn't eating, just kind of staring blankly at the TV. Just didn't know what the hell was happening.
Well, at what point of the game were you like, maybe we have a chance?
Well, after the field goal, when they came down by 16, I said to my wife, I was like, well, they need 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. I was like, I could see them getting the touchdowns, but the odds of getting 2 two-point conversions are slim, and they'll probably kick a field goal or something. And like, we'll just get close, and it won't be a thing. And just kind of not checked out. I didn't stop watching the game or anything, but it was just like, just make it a game. Just get back into it. Just give it a fighting chance.
And is it just kind of weird for you that the Patriots' largest winning margin in a Super Bowl happened in a game in which they did not have the lead until the final play of the game?
Yeah, I mean that's obviously that's gonna be a fun trivia stat in about 30 years. Be like, what's the only Super Bowl where the winning team never led for 1 second in the game?
Yeah, I don't think that's
crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happened before. Like when the Patriots beat the Rams, they were winning the whole game, and when they beat the Panthers, it was back and forth. And that Steelers-Cardinals game that was crazy. I mean, I don't know if that's happened. So
yeah, because there was never been an overtime game. So I mean, unless someone literally won the last, kicked the field goal when time expired to win it, which I don't think has happened.
So you think some other team will pay James White a lot of money? I forget if he's a free agent. That might be.
No. James White, we got him for.
Nice.
So I think he was a rookie 2 years ago. So I think we at least one more year.
Excellent. Yeah. That was the thing that had to, I guess, frustrate daily people, is that it really looked like a Lewis kind of game, but then he got hurt, and then White just, when they were running the ball fast, they had to keep a guy in the game. Once Blunt fumbled, he was, almost unused the rest of the game. It was all good, and yeah, the good guys won, and it hurts to see that.
Huh? Alternate facts.
Hashtag. Okay.
So-
We'll let Sharona, turn around here.
No, so Mike, how do you feel about Martellus leaving?
Is he officially gone or just pretty much?
Well, I mean, it
Okay.
just sounds like it.
Yeah, he's. It was tough. I'd like to keep him because obviously Gronk is injury walking, so who knows on that. But I think the Pats find another. I think there's a lot of tight end out there right now. Or that are possible, or the Pats can just pick up guys. They always seem to finagle a guy in there that can do something.
They'll be all right. I don't think that, but they probably will look at the position, at least in free agency, if not the draft, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe the draft, because there's a lot of tight ends this year. So I mean, they probably won't take a top one, obviously, but just the market's getting not flooded, but it's getting pretty saturated with tight ends that they can.
What do you think is their top need? What would you say are the top 3 needs for the Patriots? I mean, they're pretty. And let me just say that, and I had a conversation with another Pats fan about this before the Super Bowl. I really thought I didn't expect the defense to be as good as it was, and I know the Jamie Collins stuff was weird, but but I thought their defense was it underrated? Maybe it got some recognition toward the end of the year.
They were, because it was tough because they played the weakest schedule in the league, so everyone was just saying it was the schedule. But I mean, Butler obviously is a pretty solid corner, and then Ryan was doing decently, but I can't even remember half the other guys that are playing corner. So their Pats are definitely going to target at least 1 or 2 cornerbacks in the draft, just because they have no depth there.
Yeah.
And I think the linebackers are pretty good. We could probably use another defensive line guy, and I think they could always bolster the offensive line. It did come together, but I think it's pretty thin.
Yeah.
But getting Patricia back as the coach and stuff, and helped out a lot. And Skarnecki, offensive line coach, is just a huge addition.
Do you agree with all the Jimmy Garoppolo hype that's out there? Give him a first. Give him a first.
It's tough. I mean, would you rather draft a guy that you completely don't know what the hell's going to happen with him, or trade that pick for Garoppolo?
I mean, he looks promising, but it's a pretty small sample size, isn't it?
Yeah. I think if Brady was, you thought he'd be done in a year or two, there'd be all the clamoring here of keeping him and paying him. And when his contract is up in a year, I think it's the end of next year that his contract is up, they would probably keep him, but just because the way Brady's playing and stuff, they'll move him, and I think it's probably worth a shot. The team taking him, they'll probably get. They're not going to get a top 10 pick or anything, but there's that talk of, I think Cleveland was looking as the potential with using their 12th pick, maybe some kind of package.
I just think that's crazy, but hey, whatever. It's just nuts to me. I mean, I don't think he was a 2nd round pick, as I recall. And again, it's not a big sample size. Maybe a 3rd and a 5th. I don't think I would give up more than a 4th, but I could see a team wanting to maybe give up a 3rd and something else. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way Belichick would do that for a 3rd. I think
I don't blame him.
I think the lowest offer that he'll end up doing is getting maybe, Cleveland or Chicago or San Fran, one of those early 2nd pick and a 3rd or something, or a 4th.
Okay.
I could see that as the least.
Yeah, I just think it's too expensive.
But he's holding the cards. It's nice.
I know, and part of the problem, of course, is that it's not a great quarterback class, and there's not going to be a lot of people out there in free agency. But anyway, interesting.
Yeah, I forget if you've talked about your beer yet. Oh, yeah, your cat.
Aww. Oh, honey.
I'll tilt it down a little bit there.
Oh, hi, sweetheart.
Is this possum?
You're a putty cat.
Mike's not Belichick. He
Oh.
will not trade his cat for a second-round draft pick.
Ah.
Is it early pick? What are we getting here? You know.
Yeah, like an early second, late second.
Now, what's your cat's name? Is it a boy or girl?
Boy, this is Possum.
Hi, Possum.
He's purring away.
Possum's like, do whatever you want. I'm having a good time.
That is a pretty cat.
Yeah. He was a street cat, and we got him and his sister.
Oh.
So I got them
Street
about
cat.
20.
Huh? Nobody else knows what that's like, huh? Sharona?
No. All my cats are. Oh, I'm sorry. Turn that off.
But what's the? So you got a special beer for us? What was
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
What's
So
the story behind what you have?
So it's rock art. It's up in Vermont, way up there, up near Burlington. So went up there. My wife and another couple. We went up there for a trip about 2 years ago. Did like a weekend trip and just hit breweries every day. I think Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, just breweries all day. We had Ben and Jerry's for lunch one day. You know, just a great trip, and loaded up at this brewery. It was fantastic. Loaded up on a bunch of stouts. I got some maple stout that was really good, and a bunch of other just fantastic stuff.
Stouts are my favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm actually just getting my wife into the stouts. She thought she didn't like them, but she was having porters before, which are a little flatter, not as flavorful.
Yeah.
So she's had a couple good stouts now, and I think she's liking them. So I'll have to hide my good ones from her.
Well, I'd say if you're gonna go stout, definitely go to your house because you have. Do you know the current stash that you have in the cellar?
The stuff from aging, it's probably about 60 so bottles, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
I can remember most of the stuff I have going on.
I think when I first was asking you about it, I had like one that I was keeping, and now I have, I don't know, 10, 15, but a lot of them are ones that I'll probably be drinking pretty soon. But there's an Allagash double that next year will be 5 years old. I think I'm going to try that one. And yeah, when I got to find the Three Philosophers when it had the 2011, 12, 13 bombers, where it's like it's already aged, that was great because you didn't have to worry about taking the time. But yeah, I think Sharona and I need to do a road trip northeast maybe, and brewery to brewery. How many can we hit?
Oh,
I'd do that.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
Vermont alone, you could probably hit a dozen easily. We had to turn a lot down just because we didn't have time.
But I want to drive all the way up and go to New Brunswick and, hell, let's go see the new continent.
Yeah, which one? There's one in Maine that I heard was really good. I can't remember. I don't know. They're a ton. There are a ton of breweries. Even if you know the names of a lot of breweries in each state, there's still so many out there, and that's what's great about it. And I'd say it's good to share, but I just tend to be greedy and want to drink them myself when I get the good stuff.
Confirmed. This is true.
Sharer, yeah. That's why I had to hand the stuff to Sharona and go, no, we're not drinking this now. You're taking this somewhere to another zip code where I don't know, secret lair, where I cannot even look at it.
It's very good. And Mike, I don't know if you can see, but Zach also got me a Game of Thrones mug.
Nice.
Beer.
Very nice.
Yeah. And I got to meet his better half, Allison, and that was really the highlight of the trip.
Exactly. I have to listen to my nonsense as much, which is nice.
It was fun. We all gamed. It was fun.
So, Mike, you are, the MFL 10 guru. Maybe you could explain MFL 10s and then, how did it go last year? And have you already lined up the first league? I feel like you and Jen are two people who should be in whenever the first league is, I think the 27th. You should be in there.
Shoot.
Yeah, so just the quick overview for those that don't know. It's a draft only league, so you literally just draft. So you do 20 rounds, draft your 20 players. It's a slow draft, you get 8 hours per pick, and then that's it. And then everything else is automatic. So throughout the season, it automatically picks your best lineup each week, and you score points. There's no head-to-head. It's just total points. So picture, your starting quarterback, your running backs, and so on. And, no kickers. But it does have defense. So it does that. That does the 16 weeks, and the end of the year, first place gets money, second place gets a few bucks, and that's it. And so you just do a good quantity of them and have fun.
They are super fun.
Now, how many did you do last year?
I did 101.
Oh my God.
Dang.
Holy.
I mixed in, I think, 10 or 12 of those were $25 ones, and the rest were $10.
I wondered if you did
Wow.
25s. Yeah, I like the 25s just because second place wins $50, and in the 10s, second place just gets a free league.
Yeah.
But if you think you're going to win more leagues, then yeah, you play the $10 ones, and plus $10 is much cheaper. But so what happened? Did you get bit by the high-end wide receivers?
Oh, yeah, I got killed by – I just hit all the bad players. I was hitting all the injured players. I had a lot of Jamal Charles. I had a lot of Keenan Allen, all those guys just down the line. I was getting crushed. I took Tony Romo as my second quarterback.
No.
I only went with 2 quarterbacks in some of those, and I just got crushed overall. I ended up getting lucky going into the 15th week. Second to last week, I think I was only winning 4 of them, and then somehow ended up winning like 7 or 8. So I ended up losing a few $100, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, I hit the wide receiver suckage jackpot too because I had Nuke and
Yeah.
Amari Cooper didn't really come on until toward the end of the year. And let's see who was some other young guys. Allen Robinson. There's some other young. Oh, and even Odell Beckham Jr. put up some losers, and it was just Jeremy Hill, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna try to do more mocks this year because it's gonna be hard to gauge. I think some of the values.
Well, so one of the cool things is NFL is rolling out 50/50s.
Oh, that's cool.
They're doing, $10, and
see that they're doing a lot of changes. That's great.
Yeah, so it's good. It's a good addition. So the top. I think they're still figuring it out. They're not locked in yet, but I think it's the top 5 win, an extra $10. You win $20, and then 6th place gets a little bit of credit for the next year. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it'll be a different strategy. So if you get crushed a little bit, you might be able to hold on because there are a lot of bad drafters out there that were doing 5 defenses or 1 quarterback and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was hoping to see some of those people that people talk about, and I was like, no, I'm playing with the. It seemed like anytime I joined the league, well, a couple times I know I tried to just invite people I knew, but then I was like, no, I'm just going to get in with whoever's in there, and then 3/4 of the league of people have been in 50 of them, so. Yeah, it's a tough one. So does MFL reach out to you as one of the power users? I mean, I feel like 101, you had to be pretty high on the list.
I think last year I was maybe top 20. There was a lot of people that went heavy last year.
Oh, wow.
It was nuts. Even, I think Jen did 70 or 80 or something.
Okay.
So it's just, I mean, there's some of the top people. Some of the top people got crushed, and some of them made some good money. So it's definitely pretty volatile, that's for sure.
Well, I had the Dez Bryant, Keenan Allen at the turn twice.
Oh, I had Dez on a team.
Nothing.
Yeah, I had Dez on a team.
Dez even came back and teased you, and then had a couple of good games. But come on, for the price, it was not very fun.
Of course, everybody knows I bought into Tajay. Yeah,
well, you got him at his high price of he was moving up to the 9th round at some point.
I don't think I didn't draft
instead.
him higher than the 11th round, but I did have some shares.
Well, Mike, we might be asking you if you want to set up, a live going for 2-1. Although we might try to do it maybe on a weekend this time instead of during the week, just to make people actually able to have beverages. Because when I talk to Jen, she's like, "Let's do one," and it's a minimum of a 6-pack. I'm like, "Well, if we do that, that is definitely a Friday or Saturday night."
Not doing that on a Tuesday night.
And we'll probably once a day off the next day. But I think it'd be fun to do it. See, I think I did one early last year and one in the middle of the summer. It's just fun to get a gauge of what people are valued at. Although I haven't done, I'm not sure. I did one before the draft. I don't know if I did one before free agency. Do you like to do the early ones when you don't know where guys are going in free agency and rookies are a total crapshoot?
I mean, that's all the stuff I'm going to be writing, the next couple months or next 2 months is just all that approaches stuff. I mean, if you start drafting next week, you don't even know the bye weeks. Yeah. So you get
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's the biggest one is because you draft, 2 quarterbacks or 2 defenses and they get the same bye. It's not a killer. It usually almost doesn't make that much of a difference, but it can. If you draft, 4 or 5 running backs and 4 of them have the same bye or something, that can hurt. So it's interesting. How's the beer?
It's good. Like last week when I was at the Sweetwater Brewery, I would do the sniff test and everything, and you'd get a really strong. There was an actual. This is a weird combination. It's a mint session stout, so it was like a 4% stout with mint, and you really could smell the mint, and the flavor wasn't great. That's why it's fun to do this, because you can only, I only tried 3 ounces. If I don't like it, toss it. Yeah. This doesn't have any head. Doesn't have any real smell.
It's a lovely color.
But it's a very smooth, it's not bourbon, it's rum, so it might be a little sweeter than bourbon, but it's pretty darn good. I mean, it's a $10 bottle, so don't mess around,
We have to get Zach on Untappd so I can keep up with his beers better and, maybe buy some of them.
Yeah, I mean...
That's the great thing about those.
I would sign up to the app so I could put all my beers on in the middle of the day like people do. Like, I was a friend of mine, people would post their beers to like Untappd in like 2 p.m. on a Monday. I'm like, you drinking now? It's like, oh no, I just forgot. I just remember I have downloaded Untappd like 3 times on my phone, and I've put like 2 beers on there. I remember to take a picture of it and post it to like Twitter, and then I totally forget. I mean, I do have, because Mike does keep a spreadsheet that I have not posted to in a while. I have my own spreadsheet where I keep track of what I buy, how much I pay, and then I have my Hall of Fame beers, beers I really liked. So I try to keep track of them, but I probably should use that because I was, searching today. There was a Westbrook beer that was like called Magic Black Panther or something, and it was like Siberian stout aged in rum barrels. I'm like, well, I like this one. Maybe I need to track that one down, but I already bought a lot of beer this month. I need to calm down, I need to drink what I have and then work on the other stuff.
Party at Zach's house.
Because I've been backing off Bombers a bit lately. I bought like a couple. I had to buy Foothills in North Carolina. There's a beer called Sexual Chocolate. I mean, I had to buy that when I was in stores.
Sure.
I mean, duh.
Of course.
But in large, I've been buying the 4-packs and 6-packs lately. But do you think people are going to switch? Like, there have been, for years in MFL 10s, people have been kind of running back heavy early, and then I think Jen was all over this like 2 years ago. She was all over the wide receiver, and that really worked 2 years ago. But last year, it didn't work. So I think there's going to be a shift back to running back love, and a zero RB going to be buried in 2017.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, 3 years ago, 3 years ago was running back heavy. So then all the articles got written about that. So then everyone was going running back heavy 2 years ago. And then Jen, and when other people did that, I went somewhat wide receiver heavy too. That was a good year for wide receiver. And then last year was just avoid the injured player, because you went running back heavy or wide receiver heavy. It didn't matter if you.
It was kind of a crapshoot.
What strategy you went, as long as you avoided the injury, you had a shot.
Yeah, ultimately it's.
But it was funny. Yeah, I was gonna say I got a massive data dump from Josh Moore, the owner of 444, of all of the MFL 10 results. So like over 1 million rows of all the picks and everything. So I was analyzing them, and it's almost like just straight down the line of, if you had the first pick, you won the most. Second pick, you won the second most. It was almost straight down the line.
Yeah?
And those guys are the ones that didn't get injured. Yeah. It's weird. It's almost a straight line.
It is strange.
So if you had the 12th pick, you lost.
Are you going to do something with that, Mike? I'd like to read it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I just got the data like 2 days ago, so I've been digging into it like crazy. But it's interesting when you think about it. It's guys like Antonio, Julio, and Odell didn't get hurt. They were good. And then you get to the end of the round, you're getting the Dezes and the Allen Robinson and the Hopkins and the like the Keenan Allens, all those guys. Those are the ones that are injured, and they were all towards the end of the first round. So I don't know if it's necessarily just because they were at the end of the round, but it's just the way it shook out was all the injured guys were towards the end of the first.
So So does that mean the 4-for-4 stuff's gonna be ramping up soon?
Oh yeah, we're gonna be publishing some of the intro articles again in a couple days. Get those out before the NFL 10 start.
Well, I got to give 4-for-4 the love because I've been given a free membership. So I got to tell you guys you rock. Of course, I knew you rocked before, but now that you're on the 4-for-4 payroll and the quality beards of I believe Josh. I'm not sure if Josh and John both have beards, but I know the Christmas one's pretty solid.
Yeah.
That might be a picture of somebody else, but yeah, I was just wondering. I don't know. Will you jump in and do one in the first week just to be in there? Or you want to just kind of keep an eye on stuff?
Yeah. So my whole thing is I don't watch any college football, so I'm not the best on rookies until I really get digging into the research and all that kind of stuff, which takes a while, as all of us know. So I'm going to tread lightly for a little bit until I get some more information. Probably do a decent chunk, after free agency and right before the NFL draft, and then I'll, go gun ho right after the NFL draft. But I know the rookies are my weakness, so I'm trying to minimize the amount of drafts I'm doing before the rookies or before the NFL draft.
Well, I mean, what I noticed. Sorry, sure. What I noticed. We'll get to you.
I was just going to ask him if he watches the combine and pays attention to it.
Men in shorts?
A little. Not too much.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed last year was people kind of knew that Ezekiel Elliott was going to be high. So I feel like he was third or fourth round even before he got drafted.
Yeah.
But the rest of the rookies were cheap, but then you just didn't know where they were going. So it just never seemed worth it in my opinion. And this year it's Dalvin Cook, Fournette, and McCaffrey are the running backs, and it's Corey Davis and Mike Williams are the two receivers I feel like are top. But it seems like receivers 3 through 10, everybody's rankings is totally different. And we're still early. We still have a lot to go. Men in shorts time is coming, so we'll get to see what happens and all that good stuff. So you think the Patriots will pay some big bucks on any of their free agents? I mean, what's funny is they won the Super Bowl and they have $60 million in cap room.
I think I haven't looked at the contracts in detail or seen them, but I think a bunch of the defensive guys like Hightower and some of those guys, our contracts are up or need to get paid. So I think they're going to spend a good chunk of that money just re-signing guys that they already have.
Yeah, it's re-signing your own guys. Well, usually it's getting them early. I'm kind of interested to see what happens with Malcolm Butler just because the downside to being an undrafted free agent is you don't make any money, but then you're a free agent after 3 years. And I think he's 2 in, right?
Yeah.
So he's restricted free agent, so they can basically tag him, I think, this year. Or they can sign him to a long-term deal.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, I think.
Are they going? They're not going to tag him. Yeah, they're going to tag. Isn't there a defensive lineman that they're probably going to tag?
Yeah, I'm blanking on the names of which
too.
ones.
Yeah.
Man, Hightower's a guy that seems to be in the system, and I mean Butler, they can probably sign him relatively cheap or give him a low ball long-term deal. I mean, isn't Logan Ryan one of the many Rutgers guys that Belichick drafted? I mean, he only drafted 2, but it seemed like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
one of those guys that you let somebody else pay a lot of money to.
Yeah, Ryan's pretty good. He's not the best, but he's not bad. So we'll see. All the talk that I've heard just over the the last couple months was the team's going to look pretty much the same next year. With the small things, nothing major is going to change. They're going to try to keep it possible.
Will they give LeGarrette Blount a few bucks to come back next year?
Oh, he was horrible. Especially towards the end of the season. I mean, you take out the touchdowns, which were almost all 2-3 yard, rushes from the right out from the goal line there. So he was just nothing.
Okay, they're saying that Hightower, they're going to use the transition tag, possibly on Hightower. And Oh, if they use a transition tag on Hightower, they can't use a franchise tag on another player. Apparently, that's I have to look at that. I'm looking at Twitter, and so
Almost nobody uses the transition tag, and aren't there two versions of the franchise? I know, like
it's
with Kirk Cousins, it was
weird.
like they gave him one of the deal where you could sign the guy for one first-round pick. If you signed him to a different one, it was like two, and it's so complicated. I tell you, it's just so much. How do we do it? We drink beer. That's how we do it. Was it a good one? Is that a beer you've actually had before? Or?
No, I only bought one bottle of it. It sounded good, and it's delicious. It is good.
That's a tough thing with cellaring. Do you usually buy multiple, or are you like, let me just try one out? I guess it depends, right?
I've gotten to the point now where I'm trying to buy, at least a couple of them, or if I've had it before, then I can buy it and just cellar it right away, that kind of stuff. And like you, I've been trying to go more for the 4-packs, that kind of stuff, like the KBSs and those things.
Yeah, that's got to be coming up soon, right? The Kentucky Breakfast Stout, is that New Holland too? I think it is. March-ish, they come out.
Yeah, I got to track that down.
New Holland, baby.
I did a whole thing last week about...
he really should sponsor us.
About a local brewery out of Athens, is an hour away, and they had a beer called Athenia Paradiso, which is like a sour, and how I stalked my local beer stores to find the ones that had it, and I was able to get 2 4-packs. That's what I think you enjoy, because it's I don't know, and Sharona might like it, because it's a tart cherry, but it's got raspberry and cranberry in it.
I told you I drink fruity beer with you.
It's good.
I'm not.
But tonight I'm trying to stick with the crowd and drink the deeper stuff, because we're talking about deeper conversations. I'm gonna do this early because I don't want to step on any other subject. So we're gonna do over it or nah.
I knew this was
now. So get ready, Sharona.
Yes.
And we will expand on these things and let Mike talk, or just let Mike drink his beer, because that's fine.
It's delicious.
Yes, I have Tom Brady's jersey in my. I'm cellaring.
I'm going to retire. That's how I'm
going
to
retire. 5
retire.
years, it's going to be delicious. So, over it or nah, the NFL Combine policy.
Nah. I'm not over it, Mike. By the way, I just wrote about it for Inside the Pylon, and it's interesting because the first year they implemented it, you get some media reports about it, and it was guys convicted of felonies or serious misdemeanors, and then that included violence, and then that was the year after the Frank Clark thing, and then this year it's guys with a history, and so at least at this point it looks like history only includes guys who are caught on tape committing these violent acts, because that was what happened with Joe Mixon and Ishmael. And so, but then you've got other guys like Dalvin Cook and D.D. Westbrook, and there are other names. There are other names out there, and and it's the NFL pulling the whole same okey doke that they do in regard to domestic violence in the regular policy. It's just looks like it's a way to look good. Yeah.
It does seem quite opaque, and that you don't know why. I mean, an example of what NFL have done is what happened, to Brady. Although I'm sure Mike and Sharona could have a nice argument.
Let's not talk about that.
It's over, baby. They won.
Listen, and I don't care,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of this stuff you mentioned some stuff in your article that I didn't know about the stuff about Dalvin Cook. Obviously, Joe Mixon stuff was pretty well publicized, but he's actually considered a pretty high prospect, so I'm intrigued to see. That's a test right there.
He'll be just like Frank Clark, and a team will draft him, and they'll try to say a bunch of bullshit that makes people maybe feel better about it.
I mean,
Or not, maybe Mike or whoever thinks, I mean, I know that there are fans who don't care. It matters to me, but, anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, I care. I'm a, good human being. It's not, I don't condone it or anything like that, but a player like that's going to be drafted high up anyway, whether he goes to the combine or not, of his own volition, if he decided not to go to it.
Yeah. I mean, some guys even go and don't work out, and so what does that mean?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's more for the fringe guys, the guys that the combine actually helps it helps or hurts them.
Well, we mentioned him earlier, and I can't remember, and I know that there are, but a guy who jumps out to me is Jamie Collins, who played at and I say this because I remember scouting him and looking at him, and you couldn't find tape of him. He stood out at the combine, and I'd seen the name. I hadn't really looked at him, but he had such an outstanding combine that you're like, wow, this guy. And then you go out there and you see, there's not much, but you see the talent. So, yeah, I agree with that. Anyway.
Yeah, it'll be a test because that was something that came out in RotoViz, about rookie draft picks because it's rookie draft pick season, or at least, trading rookie draft pick season. And they were saying basically guys who didn't go to the combine don't even worry about them because they don't get looked at in the NFL teams. If they're on a team, it's like late pick or undrafted free agent.
Well,
because Mixon is considered a relatively high pick, even if he's taken in the 6th round by somebody, be like, wow, they're really taking a chance. So people will go up. And I mean, I don't know, it was funny. We were, the local league I had been in for years. We had members of the league who basically said, we aren't going to pick anybody who was arrested. And then the year they drafted, the kicker they drafted, ran over a mailbox and got a DUI. It's like, and they end up cutting the guy. But it's, that stuff matters more. I don't know if it's a forefront on NFL fans' minds, but it's definitely there more than before. And it's getting more coverage.
Oh, I think that
a lot of people are doing a la la la, I can't hear you, but the la la la, I can't hear you part is kind of dead at this point, I think.
Well, I mean that's why the video stuff is, understandably, has a greater impact because it's harder to ignore something that's there and you can see and it's in your face. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that fans are more aware and less tolerant of it, how that translates into team decisions is an ongoing process.
Well, okay then.
I mean, because if you look, and we could spend an hour talking about longer than that, talking about what is the residual impact of not going to Senior Bowl if you get an invite, and B, whether or not you go to, because, it's hard to ignore college tape, right? And it's out there and what they did in college and all of that. I don't know. It's interesting.
We'll have to see what happens. So, next Over It or Nah, name dropping on podcasts.
I'm not over it, but I'm trying to figure out who I name dropped.
This guy.
Oh, that's right.
Sharona, I've been listening to your show lately, but then I'm like, I listened to your show, and you're like, no, you have to read my 42 articles I read this week. I'm like, okay, I'll try to do that too. And you're like, I mentioned you by name, so yes. I heard you in your show.
Twice, at least twice.
I give Sharona crap because she does a show where she says she talks about sports, but she hasn't talked about sports in weeks. So
not true.
She's like, oh, I'm going to do a show not about sports. I'm like, maybe your sports show, you should talk about sports. I mean, there's a couple other things going on, but I just, I like to dig, especially when it leads to me eventually buying.
I did a whole show about sports last week where I talked about the Bills and the Super Bowl, the post Super Bowl, and the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and Mike Vick.
I forgot about Ty God, your man Ty God.
Looks like the Bills are going to keep him.
Get well card.
Really? That's changed.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought they weren't going to keep him.
It's quite the saga. I think that they wanted him to take a lot less money, and they were circulating leaks, reports that was possible, and now we're seeing reports. I mean, it's hard to know.
It's a tough world being a quarterback. You're either making like $20 million a year or you're a fringe guy. And
you're either Brock Osweiler living the dream,
Tyrod, I know he made a little more last year because he was a starter, but I feel like the first year they had him, he made like $2 million, which for a quarterback, even a backup, that's nothing.
Ridiculous.
So
anyway.
Yeah, whatever they owe him, which I don't even think is real money, it's like $40 million in tiers. Like, yeah, but you had him relatively cheap. How about giving him one receiver, let alone two, and then see if he actually can,
could he have like two receivers with both legs? That'd be nice. And he had a good running game, and the offensive line is solid, and I understand all of that. And he's got, I mean, it was his second year he's played like 48 games. I know he's a 5-year guy, but,
Well, Rex is gone, right?
Rex is gone. He's gone through, what, 3 or 4, if you count his time with the Ravens. How many offensive coordinators has he gone through? And, I mean, it reminds me a lot of Alex Smith. And don't get me started on Alex Smith. It's like, where's Sal? But anyway.
You and Sal need to have the Alex Smith, like, bobbleheads together because the love for Alex Smith.
I like him.
Hey, he's a guy who can get in the NFL 10s probably, 13th, 14th round, probably even later. I mean, he doesn't get hurt. He doesn't ever score that many points, but actually he does every once in a while.
His average scores are pretty good. I mean, he's a mid-tier guy that you can wait on and get, and if I had the interception machine himself last year, I ended up dumping him. Blake Bortles.
Oh, Bortles.
Oh, jeez.
Can't think of his name.
I got a funny Bortles story here.
Okay.
Is in my home football league, we do a side league called the Bad Quarterback League, where you get 6 points for an interception. You get -2 for a touchdown, and you get points for a sack, like all that stuff. So you want your guy to play, and you want him to play poorly.
Okay.
So not this past year, but 2015, Blake Bortles was like the top 3 quarterback in our home league and our Bad Quarterback League.
Oh my God!
That is impressive. Like,
that's pretty.
I bet he was last year, yeah. Because now if you throw like 12 interceptions, you're like an interception machine, and you look back at every time there's news about Terry Bradshaw, I just look back at his career and like his rookie year where he threw like 6 touchdowns and 24 interceptions, just like there's no way he would have made it today.
Can we talk about Joe Namath?
I mean, I think in Bradshaw's last game, he threw 2 touchdowns, and that gave him a +2 touchdown interception ratio in his career. But okay, we're gonna do just a little. We haven't done any Titans talk yet, so let's do it here. Over it or not? # re-sign Harry Douglas.
What about Kendall Wright?
Nah.
No.
Yeah.
I hope # free Kendall Wright. Yeah, go somewhere else and
whatever. Yeah, I mean, between those two options. Oh, Mike's going to hate me, but you're going to get Harry Douglas cheaper, and he's probably as good, if not better, in this point in his career for what you need him to do. And, and I don't know. Kendall Wright never really fulfilled that promise, and it was, anyway, he'll get more money, and, maybe he'll do better.
Okay, we'll stick on the theme here. # re-sign Andre Johnson.
He's retired.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? How about this one? # re-sign Randy Moss.
He's officially retired, too, and is up for the Hall of Fame next year.
Team Calvin Johnson and Marshawn Lynch, what?
Yeah, I mean, hello?
And maybe this is just for the
Vince
Titans.
Young, # re-sign Vince Young.
Yes, do it. # overpay Pat's free agents. Although the Titans,
over it.
Martellus Bennett to be the guy next to Delaney, that would be fun.
I would love. I can just say I would love.
If the Titans tied like
it's going
Martellus
to sound
Bennett.
wrong. I don't mean it this way, but I would love to be a fly in that locker room watching.
That's true. Martellus has been very fun. I think somebody said something to him on Twitter, and he was like, do you get a pay cut at your job? I'm going to take as much money as I can. I'm like, yeah.
He keeps it real, baby.
He is.
I mean,
comedy gold.
He's bounced around, but
Well, he was in
the Bennett.
He was in Dallas, and then he went to Chicago, and then he went to the Patriots, and now he's another free agent. I mean, in Dallas, okay, he was young and rapped a lot, and they have Jason Witten.
He rapped a lot.
Nothing else to do.
You know, I mean, he's not going to take Jason Witten. You know, and then he goes to Chicago, and I mean, boy, are they a mess. And now Jay Cutler's, I mean, you know, imagine having to pretend like you like Jay Cutler, you know. I mean, that would suck. And, you know, he went to the Patriots. He did well there, but they're not going to want to pay him what he's going to command, and he's going to make a business decision. I can't hate on any of that.
You just can't hate, can you? Well, can you hate on this?
Oh.
There it is. So,
oh God.
Beer that was produced by Sweetwater Brewing, which is the local brewery I went to last weekend. And they made basically their Sweetwater 420, which is like an IPA. And they made Patriot Extra Pale Ale after the Super Bowl. They made 100 cans, and by the time they announced it, it was gone. And apparently it was very popular during its brief lifespan. I wanted to share that because, yeah, this weekend I was telling my friend Steve, because he's my beer guy, I was like, we need to go to a brewery because we hadn't been one in a while. And I was like, oh, Sweetwater's 20th anniversary. I mean, 20 years ago, the Atlanta beer scene, there were like 3 breweries in town. And now we have probably 20. So I went there. I got my nice glass.
I like the glass, too. I do. That's a sweet glass.
I was getting a little high on my glasses, and then I ended up like leaving them at friends' houses, so I only had like 2, and so I'm glad I picked that up. But it was pretty crazy because I've been to brewery, anniversary events before, but this one had about 1,200 people there.
Oh.
They had a jam band called Mo that I'd never heard of actually playing. They had a bunch of people selling food, which was smart, and they had, 12 places you could get beer, and the lines did get long at times. Like at one point, I think I was in a line of like 100 people. But then after I got that one beer, like 5 minutes later, all the lines were gone. Like, so it wasn't bad. And the bourbon barrel beer that they had from last year was the one that I liked the best. I did go to their Woodlands where they do their wood aged beer, and I had it was like a Chardonnay aged like tart cherry beer, and I tasted the Chardonnay more than the cherries, but it was definitely something different. So yeah, my friend and I went through and we did the whole thing, and then like right before they closed, we went to one of the food trucks, and I got like the last turkey burger, and I ordered like these French fries with like pulled pork on them, and that's how you kill the potential hangover.
I was like, ooh, yeah.
Sounds delicious.
Well, the rule in Georgia is 36 ounces of beer.
No, ruin French fries with pork. Now, cheese and sour cream is good, bacon, but not pork.
It was all delicious at that point because it was the last food they had, and I just sat on it and ate it while I waited.
You sat on your food? No way.
I sat on the side and while I waited to get my beer because at a brewery, at an anniversary event, they're usually like giving away a beer, and they give it away at the end, and there's a massive line. And I was like, I'm just going to eat my food and then get my beer. So that's what I did. But it was a fun event. It was crazy in terms of the number of people, and I only had the special beers, and there was one they had with, I think it was raspberries, and it was like a stout. That was pretty solid. And they had like 2013 through 16 of like their winter festive ale, and so I had one of those. And even though, as I've said before, after a bad experience with Fireball, any beer with cinnamon in it is a little out of my league, but that one was pretty good. So it wasn't as over the top.
Beer with cinnamon. Ooh.
But it was a fun event. I tend to give those ones away. Like I got a version of this, like the Prairie, but it was the Christmas bomb, and it had cinnamon, and I drank one. I was like, no, so I'm giving it to a friend of mine.
Yeah, that's kind of like Fireball whiskey. I mean, I can have like a shot of it, and I can't drink very much of it.
Well, my cousin's wife works for an oil company, and he actually was in the Dow Chemical booth of the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
And I asked him how he was doing, how many fireballs. Like, I had 5. I'm like, oh boy, yeah, your money's worth, man.
Shoot, yeah.
Oh man, on the Super Bowl. So, little side story. So, two of our friends were going to go over to their house to watch the game. We watched the game 2 years ago there. So we're like, okay, we'll keep the tradition going. They win Super Bowls when we go over there. Thursday night, they called us and said, we got tickets from a lawyer I work with. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
And some of their good friends are friends with one of like the Pats coaching staff, like one of the middle coaching staffs, whatever. So they go to all the games, all that kind of stuff. So they went down to the game. They got to see like Malcolm Butler on Saturday night and like all this stuff. And like they got to hang out with like some of the players and the press after the game.
That's cool.
I'm like, I hate you. It's like, geez, you leave me home alone, home, like watching the game at home, and like you guys go there. So like halfway through the game, we're like, oh man, they went all the way down there, and like this is happening and everything, and then we all know what happened. But it's like, geez, so jealous.
That is cool.
I ran into 2 coworkers who went to the game, and it was like, I mean, the stadium, from what I hear, was like 3/4 Patriots fans, so it was really quiet for a while. It turned around. I mean, yeah, all the good stuff. I put cat talk in here. Actually, I don't have any cat talk points. I don't know. We had a guest star. You 2 had a guest star. My cats don't really like Spotlight so much. I believe I did a different show last week where 2 of them popped in, but once I grab them, they're like, no.
Well, you guys missed it. Like right before I had everything, I was like on my game tonight because I was early and getting everything set up, but the cats were driving me nuts, and Smokey couldn't decide if he wanted in or out, and so he sat at the door, and I had Iggy in here, and he sat at the door and whined. So I opened up the door, and I'm like, come in, and he just sat there. And of course, then Bandit tries to run in, and Zach knows this, just so you know, Bandit is the most adorable little asshole cat you'll ever meet in your life. Because he is the sweetest thing, but he will sit in here, and you can just watch him. What can I destroy? What can I get into that's really going to piss her off? You know, and it's like, and I was like, I cannot deal with either one of you. So I was like chasing them out, giving them treats and stuff. So we could have some peace. I don't know where Iggy is. She's somewhere hiding asleep.
You don't want good attention. You want bad attention. That's the cat's life. Well, I guess any attention really works.
Any attention.
So, Mike, are you like Sharona? Do you know all your, local bottle shop representatives, and they let you know when the good stuff's in? Do they save stuff for you?
Yeah, it's the one in actually my hometown. It's awesome liquor store. They get voted like one of the top like bourbon places in the country.
Wow!
Like a bourbon tasting room, and their beer shop gets voted like one of the tops in New England and all that kind of stuff. So I go there, occasionally because I got a Total Wine around the corner now. But yeah, those guys are. I don't know if they know me because I don't go there that often. I usually just buy massive quantities at once instead of going there weekly. But those guys at that place just know their stuff. Like I just say, oh, I'm in the mood for a sour that was from this region and this and blah blah. Oh yeah, here you go. Boom.
Those are the best places.
Yeah.
You probably have better local stuff, but I did get the Brooklyn Bel Air sour. That's actually pretty good. It's a $10 6-pack. A 6-pack, not a 4-pack. Yeah, so that's
nice.
That's one that's probably got national distribution. But what are some of the Boston breweries that maybe aren't the big ones that they're like some of your favorites, or is it just particular beers that you dig?
No, well, hands down, I think I've mentioned this multiple times to you, is Jack's Abbey. It's in Framingham, which is pretty close to me. They started 6-7 years ago, and they're a small little brewery, and then they moved to this new building they built out. And if they fill that with capacity, like brewing, they'll be the second largest brewery in Mass to Harpoon, because Sam Adams does all their stuff in like Ohio, pretty much.
Oh no!
So they're just like booming, and they actually had this spin-off brewery because they specialize in lagers. That's everything they do is
I
a
like
lager.
lagers.
So good. They do like lager IPAs. They do lager stouts, lager
Ooh.
sours, everything. It's awesome. It's awesome. But then they had the spin-off brewery that's everything's barrel aged. And it's like this really cool
I want to move
room.
I want to move to Vermont.
It's a cool place. You can go and you actually bring your own food, and they have you get the beer there, and they have like cornhole board set up. They got some shuffleboard set up, some pinball and everything, and it's just this awesome place. And the beer is just fantastic. Everything I've had there is just awesome.
So let me
It's
ask
good.
you guys this, because somebody asked me, and I don't know, is it worth it to dabble in brewing your own stuff, whether it's beer, wine, or whatever?
I think if you get
I know a lot of people who do it.
I was just gonna say, if you're really good at it, it's cost effective and you can do what you want. And I know a few people that do that, but I have one friend that kind of does it just randomly. He's tried cider and that kind of stuff, and it's when you don't know what you're doing and that kind of stuff, it's kind of expensive, and it usually doesn't come out the best.
So it's pretty high maintenance if you don't know what you're doing?
I think so. I know there's a lot of sterilization. You got to keep cleaning stuff as you're going, all that kind of thing. So I know I don't have the patience for it, so I wouldn't do it.
It's definitely cheaper than it used to be, and I think there are some kits you can buy, but you probably have to put some money in up ahead. But yeah, it is relatively cheaper. I had a friend who gave me a bottle of beer, and I thought it was the actual bottle of beer, but it was just he had repurposed some bombers. It's kind of what you do is you get a bunch of beers and you clean out the bottles and use them to bottle your stuff.
A friend of my sister's makes wine, and I'm saving her bottle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I did years ago. I haven't done it since. It's one of those brew it at a place kind of thing. Like you go to a store or not a store. But
you get to try.
I did it. It's really cool. So I've done it twice, and they did it. So you can do it. It was two ways. One, you can go and just you pick one style and you brew like. I think it ends up being like 60 almost bombers worth. It's a good amount because you kind of do a big batch. Or you can do different nights, and they make 6 different ones, and everyone kind of shares. You make one batch, but then you get a sixth of everybody's. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I got to make something to get a little of everything. So I still have all the bottles.
It's kind of like fondue, one of those fondue places for beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's what we do.
We should do that. That'd be fun.
So we'll do a Going for Two MFL 10 live, and then we'll do a Going for Two live while we brew beer. No, we'll brew the beer earlier than have it.
Now I want fondue.
And fondue. Draft and fondue party. What goes a fondue? Probably a stout.
We could do fondue in Nashville. It's good.
Fondue in 3? Is that available?
Oh my God.
Fondue.
What is the name of that place? It is so good. But now that's it. Yes, the melting pot.
Oh, that is national?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can't eat for 2 days before or 2 days after, but it's totally worth it.
Well, we went to one in Pittsburgh, and we just did the cheese and chocolate because that's all we needed. That was pretty good. Yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
That was a waddling back to your room kind of situation. So, Mike,
so good.
We've kind of reached the hour. So, where can people reach you and tell about when will your MFL 10 content be available on 444?
Yeah, so hit me up on Twitter at MikeMarFF. So I have my pin tweet there for link to 444. So all the stuff will be coming up there soon. We'll have all the articles, ADP as it comes out, and all this other stuff, and I'll redraft the DFS stuff on the 444.
444 people are awesome, and it's really a great website.
Oh yeah, I'm so lucky I hooked up with them, and it's just fantastic. It's just a great group of people. Josh
is great. Mm-hmm.
TJ, Chris Raybon. I'm doing the MFL 10 stuff with Joe Holka is joining forces there on the MFL 10 stuff.
Cool.
So all good stuff.
Don't mess around. All right, Sharona, what you having? What's happening?
Well, I said I was going to do a sports-related podcast on Friday for Bat Talk, but I don't know. There's not a lot.
Sip my tea.
Whatever. There's not a lot going on. I might not. Well, I don't know if we'll do a Friday podcast or not because I'm working on some stuff for Inside the Pylon that is fantasy and draft related, and I really want to devote my attention to that. So, but you can read my article about the NFL new combine domestic violence policy. We'll tweet that out after the show, and catch the podcast that we did on Tuesday where we talked about freedom of speech, Bill Mayer, and that awful guy.
Bill Maher, come on. He's not related to John Mayer.
Whatever.
He's Bill Maher.
Maher, whatever.
Everything you said was right. Just the pronunciation. That's all.
You know what?
It's hard to pronounce names. I get it.
I'm not good at it. So you can catch that, and just follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona.
There you go. And eventually someday my WordPress site might be working again because I was about to actually post something for the first time in a while and it didn't work. So we'll see about that. But Zach_Law, I try to link to some of my favorites to give everybody the love because there's a lot of stuff happening. If you listen to a fantasy football podcast, I'll say this, and they take the off season, no, don't listen to them. Stick with the people who are with this year round because it does not end. The free agency is about to get exciting, and then draft stuff, and it won't stop. And the beer, of course, is always year round. So thank you, Mike, for being on again. One of our favorite guests to have on.
Mike's great.
The beer, the cats. I mean, what's not to love? I mean, I'm even through doing this show, you figure out that people that you think Patriots fans are just awful human beings, and you find out they're real human beings too.
Yeah,
we got cats,
and they have cats.
Oh, that is such a pretty cat.
He's like, yeah, baby, I am hanging out, having the time of my life. So thanks everybody for listening. Mike Mar FF, Sports by Sharona, Zach_Law. That's where to find us. Going for 2 as well. So thanks again, and kiss my grits. And I still have beer left.